Hey friends, what's going on? This is David Potts with Song Notes, and I have a warm-up exercise for you today where I'm going to be showing you how to play this cool riff that is in the song called Blue on Black. This is a song by Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I had never heard of it, but listener, viewer, supporter on Patreon, John sent in this request. John, thanks for your support. I'm going to show you guys how to play this riff in this lesson. Even if, again, if you don't know this song, it's a nice 3-chord little repeating rhythm figure here that's fun. There's some cool little techniques as far as hammer-ons, right? You got some bass note, the chord strumming, and you have some string silencing. It's good little flexing of muscles there to let you have some fun if you just want something to warm up with. So with that said, let's get right into this lesson. And of course, remember, playsongnotes.com for the notes and tabs, as well as the PDF that is nicely put together by me if you want something to really practice this with and get going with it. But let's look at this thing. So you saw the tab here for the full exercise. What I'm going to do is, instead of just going through this step by step, I want to really talk about the foundations of this, right? Because that's more important, I think. You got to know those building blocks. So big picture, the 3 chords we're going to need. I would say there is a D, a D major. We're going to have a C add 9 and a G, okay? Now, the first thing I'll say about these chords is I want you to notice off the bat that your ring finger, your left ring finger, is going to be on this note, right? This 3rd fret of the B string for all 3 chords. And it's really important to keep in mind because it makes switching easier, right? If you know that finger is staying still, it's one less thing to worry about, right? You get it in place for the D, and you just sort of keep it, anchored there, like a fulcrum and a lever or something, right? So that's what I want you to keep in mind. Now, as far as the C add 9 goes, if you don't know that one, basically the same bass notes, the same 2 bass notes as a C, but we're going to be playing them with our middle finger and our index finger. And we're going to have our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string and our pinky on the 3rd fret of the E string, okay? Now, for going from the C add 9 to the G, the nice thing is, these 2 fingers are staying perfectly still, and we just have these 2 fingers going up to the 6th and 5th string, all right? So that's a nice, pretty approachable switch as well, because these 2 fingers only have to move strings, but they're really kind of staying in the same formation, so to speak, right? So those are the 3 chords. Now, I'll say, the D that you hear in this song, it's actually going to be more of like a D power chord or a D5 or D add 5, whatever you want to call it. And what that means is that basically we're not really going to want to play the thinnest string, the E string. This note, okay, that's an F sharp. That's in a D major chord, okay? It actually gives it that major sound, right? But in this song, we're only going to want to play the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, okay? And that has a more sort of neutral sound. It's neither major nor minor, right? Now, to give you a little bit of context here for quick theory, that's a D major, right? Now, if we brought down that F sharp to an F, it would be a D minor, okay? So, but you notice that in a D major and a D minor, the 3 strings or 3 notes that are in common are this, okay? This is a D, an A, and then another D. So it's just the 5th, it's a power chord, basically. Now, as far as when you play it, you can do a regular D shape and just try to target with your pick only those 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings, right? That can be kind of hard when you're really furiously going to sort of miss that high E string if your goal is to miss it, right? So what you could also do is kind of just gently brush your finger. Don't press down on this F sharp note. Just kind of like touch the string. So if you play the thinnest 4 strings with your pick, this thinnest string isn't really ringing out, right? I think that's probably that's what I tend to do. Sometimes it's going to ring though, it's not a big deal, right? It's basically as long as you're playing a D or even a D sus2 or the D add 5, it's going to sound good no matter what, really. But I wanted to call that out there because that D5 is something that gives us kind of a unique sound. So after that, let's look at the big picture of this sort of this little exercise here. We have 2 measures, okay? 4 counts per each measure. Now the first measure is just going to be the D, the D5, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and C add 9 to G, right? So 4 counts of D, 3, 4, and then the C add 9, and then the G. Now, about this, the C add 9 and the G, check this out. The C add 9 is happening on the 1 count, okay? And the G is happening on the 2 and count, right? The count exactly, the 8th note. It's exactly between the 2 and the 3 beats. And what that's gonna sound like is that the G is almost, it sounds like we're switching to it earlier, right? Check it out. So 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, right? So it's 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, you could just actually do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so I believe that's called, we're pushing that chord and that it's coming an 8th note ahead of the beat, you know. So I want to call that out, because even once we add all the strumming and the hammer-ons and all that funky stuff, this characteristic of the chord change is going to remain constant, right? That G is going to happen on the 2 and count. So get used to that. Now what we could do from there is sort of flesh out the strumming a little bit, right? Maybe on every quarter note we'll do a down strum, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 so I'm just doing, you know, D down strums on the beat, right? The 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing a C add 9 down strum on the 1 and 2, on the 1 count and the 2 count of the second measure. But then on that 2 and count, I'm going to go to the G because we need to switch to the G on that count. And then the next G strum I do is on the 4 count. Okay, so again, this is not the full tab of the full exercise, but again, it's starting to get closer to it. So let's do this a couple more times. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 okay. So we're starting to get there. That's a great thing to have fun with and just get going, get comfortable with that, because we're going to add a bit more of some complexity here, okay? So one technique that you're going to be using in this riff in a few places is this idea of, instead of doing a full strum on a chord, right? We're going to actually, for the C add 9 and the G, we want to get comfortable with plucking the bass note on 1 count and then strumming the rest of the chord on another count. Okay, so if you look at the C add 9, it might look like this, where we go 1E and a 2E and a 1E and a 2E and a 1E and a 2E and a. So on the 1 count, I'm strumming the bass note, and on the 1 and count, I'm strumming the rest of the chord. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1E and a 2E and a 1E and a 2E and a. And the same with the G. Okay, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1E and a 2E and a 1E and a 2E and a. So again, we're going to use that in a few places in this riff, and I want you to just feel comfortable with that technique. One thing you can do when you're doing that technique is basically, you could just pluck the bass note and bring your pick away from all the other strings and then bring it back for the full strum. Or what you could do is sort of pluck your pick into the next string and let that next string like catch it. You know, it almost is stopping it. You're kind of letting it hang there for a second before you continue the strum downward. So that's sort of how you might approach that. Now that you have that, we could look at the full riff and really start to put things together here. So let's look at the first measure, and this D5. Okay, so on the 3 and the 4 count, we have some stuff going on here with this note. So it's our index finger, it's on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. We want to get good at being able to lift up our index finger and putting it back down, okay? And we want to do that when we have the, you know, okay, that's the sort of goal we want to be able to get to, all right? So we want to keep our hand thinking D, right? D, 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 D add 5, whatever, and get our index finger able to come off and go back on, okay? Now, what's going to happen though is for that 3 count, we're going to do a single down strum and do a hammer-on. And what that means is we want to bring our index finger down forcefully after after the strum, okay? So we're gonna do a single strum, but it's almost gonna sound like two different notes or two different strums of the chord are happening almost. So, right? So if you can't do the hammer-on, just do another strum. And we're basically gonna do that on the 3E and the 4 counts there, right? If we're doing 16th notes, you gotta kind of get used to that counting. 3E and 4E and so 3E and 4E and 3E and 4E and 3E and 4. Now, you could do all down strums for that if you wanted. In the tab here, you see I have a single down strum for the 3E because we have the hammer on, right? And on the 4, I have a up, down, right? Up, down. And on the up, we're gonna have our index finger, our left index finger off the fretboard. And on the down, we're gonna put it back, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, okay? So let's do that whole measure, and we're not gonna play the walk up just yet. So it's 1, 2, okay? Down, 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 up, down, 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 down. Whoops, do it again. Down, 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 up, down. Okay? So that's that part. And then next we're gonna sort of do this walk up. I think this is maybe one of the trickiest parts of this thing. You gotta be fast. Okay, so that's our goal, is to be able to go on the 5th string, open, 2nd, 3rd fret on the 5th string. Open, 2nd fret with our index finger, 3rd fret with our middle finger. And that's gonna lead into the C add 9 chord. So what you might wanna do, outside of this little exercise, just get used to going, walk up to that bass note, and then strum a C add 9 chord. And do this slow. Don't be in a hurry yet. Be able to do it slow. Okay? And with this walk up, you could do down strum, up strum, down strum, or you could do all down strums. Down, down, down. Okay? It's up to you. I have it as a down, up, down in my tab, just because I like to get my right hand down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I like to keep it in that down, up rhythm with the 16th notes, but that's something you don't have to do, right? Do what you're able with the strumming especially. And that's gonna lead us into the second measure here. In the second measure, we're gonna do that technique where we do the bass note of the C add 9 and then do the full C add 9. And then what we're gonna do is do this sort of silencing, this deadening of all the strings. And we're gonna do that by just bringing our right hand into the string. So if I played a chord, C add 9, and I just touch the strings with my right hand, I'm leaving this down, watch. It totally kills the sound. So we're gonna wanna do that on the beat though, right? So it's gonna be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so on the 3 count, or I'm sorry, on the 2 and count, we're switching to the G. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. I messed up the counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So even though this is not us playing the strings, we do want this to happen on the beat. So it's an important like little technique that has a rhythmic aspect to it, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, and then for the last part of the second measure here, we're gonna be on the G, up, up, down, down, right? So it's G. We're gonna play the G, the full G on the 2 and count, and then on the 3 E and a 4 and, okay? Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. And for the up, we're just gonna play like the thinnest 4 or 5 strings or so. You know, it's not an exact science. You could play all the strings if you wanted. But basically, I aim to do the thinnest 4 strings on that up, up, And then on the 4 count, you're just gonna play the bass note and then do a down strum of either the whole chord or just the thinnest 4 strings. So I'll do the whole thing here slow, right? Okay, and the final thing I'll say is when you're playing this, don't let, if the D add 5 or the D5 is giving you a hard time, just play a full D. It's going to be okay. Okay, that's, I want you to, if you're getting hung up by too many things, like take some of the variables out of the equation. Maybe just do a regular D and just maybe get comfortable with the, This is a way to strum all 3 of these chords. And I'm kind of keeping the timing the same. But I'm sort of omitting some of the exact nuances that are found in the tab here. And that's okay, because you want to just be able to have fun with it and find that zone of play, right? Another tip might be to, with the strumming, get your right hand just kind of in that 16th note. Up, down, 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 up. So I'm doing a lot of strums here. Okay, and I'm sort of deviating. I'm adding to what's in the tab. I think that's okay though, as long as your hand is sort of in the rhythm. It's in time. You're doing the 16th note strumming. You add a strum here or there. As long as your chord, voicings are in the right spot and they're changing at the right time, your strumming is going to sound good no matter what. Okay, so that's a final tip I'll say. But again, I love the D, the C add 9, the G chords. They are a fantastic way to sort of mix things up. There's all kinds of songs that use these 3 chords. You also have this E minor 7, right? This is another chord I think that's in this this group of chords. You're gonna have lots of fun with. So this is one little song that uses these chords, and again, I think it was the D add 5, it was the hammer-ons. That makes it a lot of fun to play. So thanks for watching this far, you guys. I really appreciate it, and hope this was helpful for you. Remember to check out the website, playsongnotes.com. You can find the nice PDF I have made for this lesson there. It's available to those who support me on Patreon. Thanks to all of you who do support me. It's tremendously appreciated. Likewise, thank you to all of you who have tipped me through PayPal. The support means a lot. It legitimately helps me with this passion project of mine and keeps the fires burning, so I can keep the engines churning and keep making these lessons. So I hope you find them helpful. And that's it for this one, y'all. So have a good night. Check out this song. Again, John, thank you for the request. I appreciate it. And I'm taking off now. So have a good one. Bye-bye.